have another reason to advocate extensive reading. We know that that extensive reading helps the development of language, creates that automaticity which is so valuable, and it increases the range of command. Without it, you can't make progress. It is essential. But also we can add that it is the way in which you receive information. You can get information about the culture of the people that you are studying, whose language you are studying. And that is why extensive reading must be a central plank of the foreign language syllabus, the language syllabus. It's essential. Essential. It is not for pleasure. Now this, I'm afraid, will horrify you, because there are many advocates of reading for pleasure here, and I did wonder whether I should hire a bulletproof vest. But you see, if it is for pleasure, it is on the edge. It is an optional extra for people who want pleasure, or want pleasure that way. And what are you to say to the student who says, well, I don't find it pleasurable? You have nothing to say. If he says, I prefer in my leisure time, I get more pleasure out of Game Boy or something, what can you say? What can you say to the parents who say, I don't send my children to school for pleasure, I send them to work? You have nothing to say. You have shot yourself in your foot. I do think that if we really want to move extensive reading into the center of language teaching, we must stop using that as an argument. What we have to do, is follow my wife's example when our children wouldn't eat vegetables. If they said, we don't like carrots, cabbage, she would say, I didn't ask you to like them. I asked you to eat them. So when our students say, I don't like extensive reading, we must say, I didn't ask you to like it, I asked you to do it. And this brings me to really the only subject about which I know anything at all, and that is graded readers. And you may know that I am a fan of graded readers. And it hurts me a great deal that they are not everybody's cup of tea. They should be everybody's. And I want to suggest that one of the problems graded readers are contrasted with authentic literature, authentic materials. Now, this is makes me very angry, and I have now thought of how to respond. The opposite of graded is ungraded. Now, when you talk about ungraded materials, you wonder if they are very useful for language learners. But authentic is a sort of value judgment, the opposite of which is false, cheating. And so there is a sense that by using the word authentic in contrast to graded readers, you are implying that the graded readers are something, oh no, we don't want to touch them. Well, I think we have to fight for the abolition of the use of authentic in terms of material, and fight for graded versus ungraded. But if we incorporate culture in our teaching, then that gives a very interesting new criterion. 5 minutes, that's all right. A very interesting criterion for assessing and choosing the books that we want students to read. I, in my assessment, already look at language, style, and design of the book, and I also pay very great attention to the content. Is it a good story? Does it carry the reader through? Vital. But now I realize that we want to choose graded readers which give some information about the culture of the people whose language we are learning. And graded readers can give this information. They don't all, but they can. And I do want to really praise Chideb and the Black Cat readers, which give fantastic, interesting information as the background to the stories that they are producing. And the fascinating thing about them is that they actually expect the student to read these pages. You get in the other series, pretty well always, you may get a little introduction, but it's in smaller print, or it's hidden at the back. And it is the policy of some editors of graded readers that there should be no explanation, no help given to interpret the background. They just want the book to be read just as it hits them. But I think that this is missing a huge opportunity. And I have got 200 of these Black Cats to read, and I am enjoying the experience very, very much. They have got a wealth of information brought in, presented in a most attractive and interesting way. So background information about the culture is available. And they are beginning, Chideb are, to produce readers which take a theme and follow it through, historically. And I think that we need to give our students some sort of overview of the development of a country. And certainly it would be so much. I learned Japanese very, very poorly and hopelessly, but the teacher never said anything about Japan. I did a bit of Spanish. Never mentioned even where Spain was. That's not to say that there isn't still a place for the pleasure titles, which I see as a reward for the people who've done the necessary reading. Well, I said that 50 years ago, extensive reading was at the centre. And I believe we have to make a very strong case if we are to get it back there. We can already urge that it is essential for language. By adding culture to the language, we can urge that it is essential for extracting information. I believe we need to seek allies and have dialogue across the profession, talking to mother tongue teachers, the teachers of Japanese here. They are all desperately trying to get their students to read. We have common interest there. And I do believe that all of us can benefit if we could only get classes that were leveled and we didn't have to try and cater in a mixed group. And I'm confident that with the leadership and support of the Foundation, we, you, because I'm disappearing, will succeed. Thank you and good luck.